here to discuss the Trump administration's effort to add the citizenship question to the 2020 census, we have attorney Vikas Bajaj here this morning. Good morning, Vic. Nice to see you.
Great to see you. So much.
I guess my first question is, let's explain a little bit of what is the census supposed to be? What's the purpose for the census?
Well, it's all about the money, really, when you talk about the census. Every 10 years or so in our country's history, there's always a calculation on how many people are residing in the United States of America. What ends up happening and why this falls under Wilbur Ross's duties and responsibilities is because it's a Department of Commerce issue. How many people are living in an area directly translates into how much money that area will get. And most of the money that we're talking about here that lies in the balance regarding this decision as to who is included and who is not in the census are things such as social services, Section 8 housing, food assistance programs, things of that nature. So there's a lot of money that hangs in the balance here. It's interesting to note also that since we're talking historically, only twice up until the year 2000 was a citizenship question not included. So it's relatively a new phenomenon since the year 2000 that the citizenship inquiry had been taken off of the census. So it's not as though the Trump administration is blazing a new trail here. It's an attempt to go back to the way it was before the year 2000. So from 1820 to 2000, only twice was there not a question there regarding an individual's citizenship or country of origin. Now, the implications are tremendous, especially for states like California, where we receive so much funding, which then makes its way to the provision of social services for those who may not have citizenship with the United States of America. So that's why you see many more liberal states making the fight with the United States Supreme Court and the local district courts to prevent the Trump administration from putting this on the actual ballot and the census.
Well, that comes with the notion that a lot of undocumented immigrants probably are fearful of that question and won't answer the question and won't participate in the census. And so then, therefore, doesn't that translate in a lack of funds that would come into the state?
That's correct. And you can always have an action and find a reaction to it. For instance, is it wrong that individuals who are not citizens should not be counted on the census? That's the foundational question. And so when we look for the answer to that question, we go to the historical precedents of the United States Supreme Court and our United States Constitution. So what ended up happening in the Supreme Court case is essentially Chief Justice Roberts, which was he was a swing vote here. He said, well, it's not unconstitutional to ask. But the reason the administration is presenting to the court in order for them to ask this pivotal question is unjustified. We don't see the strong connection. Now, Trump administration and Wilbur Ross, the Secretary of the Department of Commerce, if there is a more attenuated or strong connection to the necessity to ask the question, bring it before us, and we may authorize that. Interesting, again, just to dovetail on some of our introductory comments, since the year 2000, we have been in a new era of not asking the question that had been asked for centuries before.
That's very interesting.
That is very interesting.
Yes.
If this or any other administration, if that were a question on the census,
yes,
if this or any other administration were to use the answer to that question to target individuals, are there legal ramifications against the government?
Absolutely there are. I mean, we have equal protection rights, and we have the Equal Protection Clause, both in the federal and the state constitutions, that protect us from that. However, we must understand that a foundational finding of that may be citizenship. We have the right to have certain protections because of citizenship, which would include some residency qualifications as well. So there is always a group that may be left out in the dust, let's say. But the question is not who may be harmed. The question is, what does the Constitution provide and what does the Constitution allow? As I said, every action will create some things and people and groups that say, boy, that really hurts me. But that doesn't make it wrong. The federal government here is saying we are not going to continue spending millions and millions of dollars when we cannot justify who those recipients are and whether those programs are constitutionally mandated or based.
I see.
Interesting.
All right,
Yeah,
Vikas Bajaj.
It's always great to see you.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
shedding light.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy. Did you have a good 4th of July?
Great 4th of July.
Yeah.
I still have my Stars and Stripes socks
And
on.
a red, white tie. Red, white.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have to
good.
show our pride in America, don't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
great. So
Yes,
good to
thank
see you.
Likewise.
Thank
Thank you
so
so
much.
Thanks a lot,
much.
Vic.
Thank you.